What's going on, Jeromes? Happy Monday. Keep hope alive. We're back at it. The Monday Jeromes live stream. Thank you very much for coming along. Every single weekday, well, just getting Monday through Thursday, 11 a.m. Central Time. We are here for an hour, but really 45 minutes, but really 32 minutes of Vikings talk. We got some Q&A. We got some commiserating. Vikings fall to 0-3. A little bit bittersweet. And frankly, if you're going to tank, like, those are the games to do it. Like, screw this whole getting the brakes beaten off of you and embarrassed. Nah. F that noise. Actually show some life. Actually let the superstars play. Actually have a great debut, essentially, for Justin Jefferson. Looks to be one of the better wide receivers in the league. Let's go. Offensive Rookie of the Year. Huh? What? Ooh. Let's get that thing going. So it's good to see Jefferson doing some great things. And then, of course, the collapse. Of course, the second half collapse. The lack of halftime coaching adjustments, the piss-poor clock management, the burning of timeouts on terrible challenges, as well as going for two when you didn't need to. Who knew that 1 point was going to come in handy? Just great. But that's what it is to be a Vikings fan. Thank you very much for joining us, making us part of your day. If you want to support the work, purpleftw.com/support is the place to go, as well as check out the Discord. The link is in the description. There we go. So as usual, if you're new to the channel, we got a little Q&A action going on. If you want to get your questions answered, toss them in the community tab on our channel. Man, it's rough. It's rough out there, but what can you do? We'll give a couple shots here in a second as well. Got something in my teeth. Nah. All right, so first off, Boomatic. I don't think Kirk targeted Jefferson after the touchdown. You think he was mad GG hit the gritty? They briefly showed Kirk after, and he wasn't celebrating or even enthused. Maybe Kirk is upset that someone is showing him up and is actually good at dancing, which he is not, you know. But no, I think it was more... Kubiak sort of turtle shelled it. He definitely sort of got in prevent offense, as well as Tennessee was obviously giving a lot more attention to 18 after they realized, like, hey, he's good. Sean Johnson, if Zimmer gets the access here, who do you see taking over as the interim head coach? So I thought about this. It would be hard to sell Adam Zimmer becoming the interim. Dre, you could make a good case of Andre Patterson. Man, that's rough. Gary Kubiak is the easy answer, but also Gary Kubiak, for health reasons, he doesn't want to be a head coach. He didn't want to be offensive coordinator, but you did see, I think that Gary Kubiak is so selfless and is always thinking about other people. That's just the kind of human being that he is, that he took the offensive coordinator job just so his son Clint Kubiak, as well as his friends Brian Periani, the tight ends coach, and Rick Dennis, the offensive line coach, so they wouldn't break apart, so that they continue to have employment because they thought that they had something going on here. And I wouldn't be shocked that if it did come to a head, where I still think it's extremely unlikely that the Wilfs would eat the remaining 3 years of Zimmer's contract. But like we pointed out, they did it with Childress. But Childress, smaller buyout, as well as, you know, Leslie, the interim, becoming the full-time head coach, a little bit easier and cheaper. Kubiak, if he takes the interim head coach, and also if they want to give him the full-time head coaching gig, that's not going to be cheap, because Gary would have a lot of leverage in that spot. So, boy, Nicholas Meyer, if I die, I die. Well, our season on life support. Yeah. Forgot about that. And Kirk. Not totally Kirk's fault, but he needs to get out some of these sacks. He needs to roll up play calls and screens to mitigate the interior pass rush. Come on, Coombs. Yeah, where are the screens? That's what I want to know. That's some of the best part of Stefanski's play calling, was those sexy-ass screens to Dalvin Cook, but hasn't really happened. And yeah, Cousins, we got teased a little bit because he did have some pocket awareness against the Packers, but that just went away. It's like he was on one of those limitless pills and then it just wore off. So yeah, the whole, Cousins isn't good because the offensive line is bad. Well, quarterbacks make their bad offensive lines, they make it work. I mean, Deshaun makes it work in Houston. Russ makes it work in Seattle. And also, I don't want to hear about, well, they're mobile quarterbacks, and Kirk is a pocket passer. Well, you know who else is a pocket passer? Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, Tom Brady, especially Tom Brady. I mean, Dante Scarnecchia, respect, great offensive line coach, probably the greatest of all time. But some of those Patriots offensive lines are pretty suspect, right? And Brady, not the most mobile guy in the world, obviously, but he was able to buy some time because he was aware in the pocket. He was able to slide. He was able to buy just that extra half second where he wasn't sacked, where he wasn't stripped, and also getting a completion off. Then you just completely forget about it. Cousins doesn't have that. That makes me worried. Next up is RJ Free. Since they can't fire Zim, can they at least force him to give up play calling duties? That would be a change in the right direction. It's actually a really good point. And that's something that I've always disliked about Zimmer, where offensive coaches can call the plays because you are dictating the game. Calling plays on offense, I think, has much more to do with game management, which is the overall overarching job on game day of the head coach, as opposed to calling defense. Because defense, you're typically reacting as opposed to imposing your will, like you are on offense. So a lot of time, the defense does require a lot more in-game adjustment. And if your bandwidth is being taken up with that, as opposed to paying attention what's going on with the clock, what's going on with timeouts, what's going on with this and that, that's not good. It's not like there's a reason why there are very few defensive minded head coaches who call defensive plays. And also for a while, Zimmer was the only one before Brian Flores was down in Miami. So there's a reason. Next up is Toby Lerone. Can we just trade Harrison Smith to the Chiefs, Baltimore, Seattle, so he can get a ring? That would be a nice way for him to go out. I mean, him to the Chiefs? Harrison to the Chiefs? Harrison to Honey Badger? Come on. Honey Harry? Woo. Ethan Moon. Do you know who Harry Peter is? First guess is only. Google search if you don't know. It's Bud Grant. Bryson Kent. There's this quarterback that no one knows of, who's a future star in the NFL level. He's a senior at Kent State. His name is Dustin Crum. He's the guy I want us to draft this year. There's a lot of quarterbacks just coming out of the woodwork. That, I mean, everyone talks about the tank for Trevor and Trey Lance and Justin Fields, but I mean, Brock Purdy was there. Tanner Morgan could be in. This Crum guy could get in there. Kyle Trask from Florida. KJ Costello, the transfer from Stanford. Come on. Oh, also, Texas quarterback, Sam Ehlinger. Yeah. This could be the best quarterback class in draft history. It really could. Game of Sal. Whose contract ends after the season? And out of all the players, who are definite players to get a new contract? That's too broad of a question. The Mighty T. Vikings need to fire Zimmer after the season. Hire. I'm not against it. Where Zimmer, it's whatever. But I'm a big fan of Eric Bieniemy. I think that he deserves a head coaching job. I love him mainly when he was the Vikings running back coach. Like, he was one of the first guys who actually got through to Adrian Peterson. I think that he's a great motivator. I think he's a great leader of men. I would love Eric Bieniemy as a head coach. Quan Wynn. Why does Zimmer keep drafting DB in the first round when he said he could find one at 7-11? Well, he said he could find cover 2 cornerbacks at 7-11, but also they're playing a lot of cover 2 these last 3 weeks. But that's a good point, where it's always high picks on cornerbacks, and then Polo the GOAT 2.0. What's your thoughts on Harrison for a second round pick? He's getting old, had a lot of value with the Vikings. Don't seem to be in Super Bowl contending. I'll take first round. It's weird as it say. I would take a first rounder for Harrison Smith. Ethan Griffith. Zimmer is wrong for calling out Harrison. That dude's the one of the few guys actually earning his paycheck. Agree. Live chat. Let us know where you're watching from. We'll give a couple shout outs. Always like doing that. Robert Barweiler. At best, we would be 1-5 going into the bye. Do the Vikings entertain trading Cousins to the 49ers at that point? If Jimmy G's ankle ain't right, I would certainly consider it. Colin Andrist. The Vikings offense looked amazing this week, except for the final drive. How to get a bad snap on the most important drive of the game. It's a good point. If the defense can get something going that works consistently, we are a very good team. Yeah, the offense looked good. The offense looked good enough to win. And also with a Mike Zimmer team, you'd think that 30 points on offense would be enough to get you a W, but it wasn't. T-Rag. Spielman is pretty good at trades, but do you personally think that think about his draft turnout and his almost blind loyalty to players. I think the stubbornness is certainly there, but I don't think that's all on Spielman. Like, it's not Spielman going down. It's like, hey, you must play Pat Elflein. Hey, you must play Jaleel Johnson because I invested a pick in him. I think a lot of that is on coaches as well. Kaiser Helm 14. We would have probably been 2-1 or 1-2 if we would have used Jefferson so damn early. I love that kid. That's a really good point, and I concur. I do. Jerome Smith, I've been subscribed for years, man. Just want to say thank you for loving my favorite football and reporting on them every single day. Skull, hey, thank you for coming along. Andrew Anderson, they need a franchise quarterback for once and need a new head coach that controls the time clock and spark the team if they ever want to win the Super Bowl. Well, I mean, Andy Reid won a Super Bowl, and he might be the only coach besides Vic Fangio who's worse at managing the clock than Mike Zimmer. Skull Vikings 33. On Best Celebrations on Instagram, they made a post about the Vikings possibly tanking for Trevor, and it was liked by Michael Pierce. Likely means nothing, but it had me thinking for a minute. Like, what latitude does he have to talk? Like, he's not even part of the team. Thorvald Von Johnson, love your insight and passion. Hang in there. It's damn hard to be a Vikings lifer. That's true. And also, if you're like a young or new Vikings fan, best of luck to you, man. It's rough. Brian Kayukin, no pants for Trey Lance. Love it. Absolute stud. He's got a bazooka attached to his shoulder, and he looks like Sonic the Hedgehog when he tucks and runs. Kid's really talented. Although, I'm not convinced he's going to declare. I mean, he's eligible as a redshirt sophomore, but if NDSU was actually playing one game on this Saturday, October 3rd, which, whatever. And then the Missouri Valley Conference is allegedly going to have a season in the spring, which I don't agree. I mean, Trey Lance technically has 3 years of eligibility left. Maybe he likes the college life. Maybe he's having a lot of fun just being an absolute stud. So maybe he wants to be the greatest FCS quarterback in NFL history. Who knows? Or college football history. Who knows? Let's hear a couple shout-outs. Got Lord Edane, Mason City here. Crown in North Central Iowa. Pulford Skull. Nashville, what up? Colin Duncan, Skull from Boulder, Colorado. Love Boulder. It's a beautiful town, man. Jason Sage, Skull from Mankato. DS Skull from Michigan. What up? Tyler Brush, Skull from Kansas. Carry on my wayward son. Patrick Harm, Skull from Cedar Rapids. Just watched a Dateline about a murder in Cedar Rapids. I mentioned that, I think. Purple Rain, Skull from Wausau, Wisconsin. Ethan Griffith, Skull from Mendota Heights. What up? 77 A. Acosta, Skull from Nova Vikes. What up? You guys are the best. Thanks for coming along. Next up is Tristan. Zimmer's clearly the issue. Hopefully the Wolves will fire him if this continues and we lose to the 0-3 Texans next week. They should be considering it. Yeah. Again, I'm not on Team Tank yet. Hoping that Daniil Hunter coming back will stir up the pot if he's good to go from that herniated disc. Man, that's rough. But if they go into the bye 0-6 or 1-5, including losses to the currently winless Texans and Falcons, okay, I'm in. I'm in. I will advocate for tanking harder than you could ever imagine. Like my level of tanking and advocating for it will make you look like you're just a rube, just like things like, oh, just go 7-9. No. Next up is Patrick Harms. I feel like I'm to blame for the 0-3 start. You are. Everyone blame Patrick. I was telling people before the season started, I don't care if the Vikings go 0-16. I just want there to be a season. I hope I didn't jinx them. Well, it's going a little bit far. It seems like the impact of the Rona was greatly exaggerated by Florio. Schlars and Darren Ravel. Like, man, you could tell that Darren Ravel inside was just like dying when the SEC had a season because, I mean, that was so bad for his brand, but what can you do? Schlars, thoughts on Kyle Trask? Could possibly be a good mid-round pick for us if someone decides not to take quarterback in the first. He's working his way up, man. Had a great performance for Florida, had 6 touchdowns. Haven't done enough, like, film work, but just, like, surface, watching the TV telecast. I mean, the kid is really, really good. Pele Jenkins, ML. Kirk Ponder's evolving. Kirk Ponder has evolved into Christian Cousins. Christian Cousins sounds like a day camp. Or like a summer camp. Colin Andrist. Kirk can be one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Actually, wait, no. There's a Christian Brothers automotive place that's like a chain, isn't it? I hear they do good work. Kirk can be one of the best quarterbacks in the league when he has time. I think we shouldn't tank. Mallet our corners, get some experience, and draft sign O-line. We should sign a veteran corner that could teach these guys how to play. 3-13. 13-3. Ace Man Mello. What's the best outcome for this year considering our record? 13-3. Now, I'm still keeping open alive for 9-7. Just slide on into those playoffs at the 7th seed and let's get it going, baby. Let's see here. I do basketball school from St. Paul. What up? The accountant school from West Virginia, Mountain Mama. Eric Graff is Irvsman Jr. a complete bust? No, but he's had a rough couple of games, man. He's had more dumb penalties than catches. Game of Jones. That's a good screen name. If the Vikings do acquire a top 5 pick through trade and grab a young quarterback, do the Vikings fire Zimmer and get an offensive head coach for the quarterback? If so, where are some possible candidates? Lincoln Riley's always out there. Gosh. I think Josh McCown is going to be a phenomenal head coach. I get it would be a huge risk since he hasn't technically coached on the NFL level, even though he's basically been a quarterback's coach. And it's not unprecedented for a quarterback's coach to go to straight from position coach to head coach. Andy Reid did it. Offensive minded head coach. So, yeah, Eric Bieniemy would be one as well, even though if he called plays, I think that would be his first time he'd be calling plays. But it's worked out for Andy Reid's non-play calling offensive coordinators recently. So, see what else here. I'd have to do some digging. Yeah, the problem is like a lot of the great offensive minds in the league right now aren't OCs. They are head coaches. So you're just scrapping at their accolades. Next up, Nate Sanford. Did you happen to watch Kirk's post-game interview? Seemed very down. Didn't give his usual what you want to hear type interview. I think Kirk knows. I think Kirk knows that loss was really on him. Just the inability to move the ball in the second half. That drive where when the Vikings were 1st and 10 from their own 40 after the Simmons illegal hands to the face, the Vikings were 41.39% to win that game. They had to get 22 yards to give Dan Bailey a shot at a 50-yard field goal, and they couldn't do it. Like, how do you not gain 20 yards at the end of a game? Like, that's child's play. Like, Sam Darnold and the stupid Jets could have done that. It's just embarrassing. Man, it's getting dark out. I guess that's fitting. Westworld, Wolves were serious contenders to buy the Wolves. They can afford new staff. Yeah, but I mean, $50 million is still $50 million, man. Rick won't get a third chance at hiring a head coach. They have always been a package deal. I don't know, man. Like if Spielman and Zimmer want to start doing, prisoner's dilemma. First one to throw the other one under the bus gets a lighter sentence or goes free. Like I think that Rick may turn on Zim. Trey, I honestly wasn't that mad with this loss. If we lose, I prefer it to be competitive, entertaining like a game that was, and just keeps tanking for Trey alive. Just need them to keep feeding Jets and Cook for fantasy purposes. I mean, yeah, that is fair. Cody and Sosa. Also, are we calling Justin Jefferson Jets? Like, I understand that his social media handles like Jettas or whatever. Nah. Cody and Sosa. Are we ready to admit that Mike Zimmer isn't any better than Marvin Lewis? Well, Zimmer won playoff games at least, so he's got that going for it. Like Marvin Lewis and I and you have the same number of playoff wins, which is rough. Brett Vuzelas. I think Jefferson should be wide receiver too. Yes. Do you think our defense will step up in week 4 against the Texans? The old line for the Texans not that good. Gosh, they better. Plus, Yannick obviously has a lot of experience against the Texans, so we'll see there. And also, I like people saying like, oh, well, Yannick really owns the Colts and the Titans, huh? He's the only one doing anything. He got 4 pressures and a strip sack against the Colts. How many pressures did he get against the Titans? Well, he got a strip sack for sure. Yannick is so good at just going after the ball. Also, it's funny that if you knock the ball out of the quarterback's hands and they don't even go down, like this still counts as a sack. That's awesome, man. All right, so pressures. Ooh, Fadi led the way with 5, getting after it. Yannick only had 1 pressure, but he did have the strip sack, so that counts. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, so maybe if Fadi's really stepping up. Dun, 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 dun. Let's hear. Kenneth, let's say we go like 8-8 and the top 3 quarterbacks are taken in the draft. Who should we take with that pick? Well, I mean, if quarterbacks go, well, 8-8 will probably get you in the middle of the pack. Let's just say for illustration purposes, the Vikings end up with like the number 6 overall pick. If Penny Sewell falls, take him. Take him. And then you'll figure out what to do with Ezra. I mean, play him at guard out of necessity because Penny Sewell is potentially a once-in-a-generation type player. Skull Lee. Or take Patrick Surtain the second. Thanks God, only one more preseason left to go. I see us going 16-0. Well, no, I mean, Zimmer wins in preseason because he puts value on that. So, same preseason. Stanley Steamer, would you rather have Fitzmagic and his contract or sleep number 8 and his? I would take Fitzmagic, I would. I mean, dude just has balls of steel. Ben Weatherly, also he's cheap. Vikings might be the only team that won't come back against the Falcons after halftime. Good to see JJ and Cook get some yardage. If you're going to lose, might as well get the guys some stats. I'm very worried that the Vikings will blow a 28-3 lead against the Falcons. Like 0-5 Vikings, 0-5 Falcons. Vikings blow a 28-3 lead, which, yeah, you feel bad for Falcons fans, all 6 of them. But also, I feel like if the Vikings in our lifetime was going to make the Super Bowl, they would lose like that. That's exactly what would happen. On brand. Hayden Alvaron. Why does Zim not take responsibility? Well, I think it's guys under, I'm keeping guys accountable. And also, we have this working theory that, Zimmer is a protege of Bill Parcells, and Parcells was almost like a political genius, for lack of a better term, in terms of he knew how to manipulate the media and call out certain players, usually like a Phil Simms or Harry Carson or a Lawrence Taylor, and also get the best out of them. I think Zimmer tries to emulate that, except there's no method to the madness. It's just madness. So it's just like, I'm just going to call it everyone. Yeah, I'm not going to take responsibility. What do you want to do? I coached them. Jerome Jabroni. What were the individual stats for the O-line? It's not great. So Simia gave up 6 pressures and a sack, leading the way again. I think O'Neal gave up 4 pressures but no sacks. It was a rough day for the O-line. Especially for Jeffrey Simmons. Brett Vuzelis. Actually, I closed the tab. I think we can beat the Texans. We just need to stop JJ and Deshaun Watson. Well, fortunately, JJ Watt is not the old JJ Watt. Deshaun is obviously a stud, but with no nuke, bad offensive line, as well as David Johnson being a corpse. Don't want to say you feel good about the game, but you feel good. Experiment 78. How do you think we performed in the first half in comparison to the second half of the Tennessee game? Good, bad. And what would you have changed in either half? I would have kept the foot on the gas. The offense was jacking fools. Just keep going after it. Offense got too conservative, as well as the defense. It just seems like Zimmer likes to go into prevent mode. Just like calling off the dogs, not blitzing, dropping 7-8 in coverage, off coverage, sitting in zone, just begging to be picked apart. Jason Sash, do you think the Vikings will be winless by the bye week? No. And even though we lost on Sunday, I feel good. It felt good seeing them play well. It gives me a little bit of hope for the future games. Agree. Kyle McKee. Where do I get that Randy Moss shirt you wear in those videos? Brandmn.com. Promo code RealJerome for 15% off. Mano Jaikus. If the Vikings lose their next 2 games, this could turn to a massive rebuild. What do you think? Who do you think would get traded first? Maybe Harrison. Anthony Harris would make sense, but the Vikings would have to eat some of his franchise tag, which fine. Maybe Yannick could get traded again, just getting passed around like a doobie. Miles, is there still any hope for this year? Absolutely. As long as there's breath in your lungs, you keep fighting. Zach Ballas. So what does Dom Capers do again? Maybe it is Dom Capers is just a bad luck charm. It's like a bad penny. Get out of here. Marquise Robertson. Do you think the Vikings will be able to go to the Super Bowl this year? Yes. If they buy tickets and if they allow fans. Shiver Timbers. Captain Munderland, a one-time yes or no. We're doing a video on that. It's not the worst idea in the world. Andy Shong. Who would you rather take to go skydiving? Who would you take to go skydiving with Zimmer or Kubiak? I don't understand the question. Am I going skydiving with Zimmer or Kubiak? Zimmer, because Kubiak has heart problems. I'd be a little bit worried about it. Who'd you play paintball against? Zimmer. Easily. Like, I might pistol whip Zimmer. Kirk or Dennison? Wait, what am I doing? Oh, all right. So, who'd you rather play paintball against, Kirk or Dennison? Kirk. Who would you? How many times have we got to kick your ass, old man? Who would you take to go prank Aaron Rodgers for Halloween? Jared Allen, Randy Moss. Jared Allen. I just want to hang out. Well, Moss would be fun too, but I feel like Jared Allen will get more into the pranks. Andy X. Do you think the Vikings will turn things around? Yes. Giggity goo. Why didn't they target BC Johnson at all? Because he was barely on the field, as well as he had not played well for the first 2 weeks, and Justin Jefferson was just balling. Bryce Kettling, save our Shaggy. Yeah. Charlie Boltman. How did the Vikings move on from Zimmer and Cousins' 3-year contracts without moving on from Spielman? Rick has been strapping weights to the ankles 15 years. Time to push him off the boat. Rick has the pictures. Gotta be. Zach Ballas. How did Todd Davis do? He played 1 snap and made a tackle. I'm not sure if he played special teams. Probably did. Did the linebacker group look better with him in there? They did that one play. He made a nice tackle. We're number 40, looking like Kentrell Brothers out there. Woo. Giggity goo. Burger King or McDonald's? Probably more McDonald's just because of convenience. Actually can't remember the last time I went to a Burger King. Home of the Whopper went out. The McDonald's breakfast burritos are just phenomenal. They're delightful. Henrik Byerlev. These losses are the same slow motion story. We possess a lead from the second quarter. We get ultra conservative, attentive on the offensive side. We punt 4 times in a row, giving the opposing team the ball back with under 5 minutes left. They score, we lose. Pathetic game management. Rather than try to win by multiple touchdowns, why not try to lose and we lose? Agree. I think that's a big blind spot with Zimmer. Pulford Skull. I'm not even that mad at Kirk. I'm more ticked at Zimmer and Kubiak. Our defense actually played pretty good. Got pressure, turnover, plenty of knockdowns. But why always soft coverage when we need the list? Piss poor game management. Agree. Chris, assuming we get a high draft pick and we don't go quarterback, would you really go left tackle as the next alternative? Yes. I feel like draft Ezra Cleveland would be a waste. No. I mean, you could draft Penny Sewell and turn him into a guard. I mean, or I wonder where Wyatt Davis is going to go. Absolute stud, earth crusher guard from Ohio State. Because remember, because when I was watching Jonah Jackson tape, who would have been a perfect scheme fit, day 1 starter at left guard if the Vikings would have spent a mid-round draft pick on him, but I digress. Watching Jonah Jackson, the right guard, Wyatt Davis, was just like jacking fools, destroying stud. Next up. I said we trade down for a guard. Thoughts? Oh, yeah. Tanner Klepp. Justin Jefferson proves that he should be the wide receiver 2. Any news on Danielle Hunter coming back? What's with Drew Samia in the Titans game? Man, Drew Samia was bad. And you have hope in the kid. You like the attitude, but also a lot of the issues that we brought up watching his Week 17 tape about his lack of anchor as well as his balance. Like he just leans and reaches too much that they're coming home to roost. Like, yeah, you could say DeForest Buckner's good. Jeffrey Simmons good. There's a lot of good defensive interior players in the NFL. There just is. And the fact that he's getting ragdolled by him, not great. Deja vu. Run to open up the pass or West Coast offense, i.e. pass to open up the run. Your thoughts, please. Yeah, I'm a throw to run advocate. It's more the modern look. I mean, Zimmer's a run to throw advocate. I think they both work to a degree, but I think today throwing to run makes a lot more sense. Jake Lagavin. No question this week, just being a dead horse at this point. Just classic Zimmer ball drop with lack of halftime adjustments. Thought the D was holding their own. Until halftime, Vrabel and company come out with new wrinkles at the half, and we can't make adjustments. Getting real old to watch Andy Skull. Yeah, so Zimmer is like that story about the guy who fell off a 6-story roof. And on the way down, people on all the middle floors are asking, how's it going? And then the guy was like, So far, so good. I feel like that's Zimmer with halftime adjustments. Doesn't really fit, but it's always a funny story to me. Skull Vikings 33. Thoughts on Kyle Trask? Already covered that, but yeah, he's a dude. Him and KJ Costello, like, I understand that the hit rate on air raid quarterbacks is substantially lower than like normal quarterbacks, but also I feel like the air raid is becoming the quintessential college offense. Like you could say that Oklahoma's offense was air raid. It is to a degree. And Baker and Kyler and Jalen Hurts. Sure. They say that to a degree Burrow came out of an air raid, even though a little bit more of a spread. But Seth V. Herman. I understand that sometimes you have to take one step back, take 3 steps forward. This is a weird year with opt-outs and injuries, but come on. Yeah, exactly. Come on. It's not like every other team doesn't have to deal with the same thing. Zimmer and Kubiak's game plans look awful. Agree. It looks like they don't want to get the ball out quick out of their hands of playmakers. Isn't that what they're supposed to do offensively? How horrible has offensive line play been? The O-line has been really good running the ball, but they've been atrocious in pass blocking. And that is the trade-off. And we've talked about when the Vikings move to a zone running scheme as opposed to more of a man gap style up front, is that's the trade-off, is that you do have these more athletic, you have these lighter, smaller offensive linemen who get out great reach and get second level, but you're going to miss it when you're in one-on-one spots and you just need to man up, cowboy up, you versus that dude across from you, and you're giving a little something up. Right, so I do sort of miss the days of, Todd Stussy, David Dixon, Corey Stringer, Matt Burke, Phil Lodeholt, Steve Hutchinson, of just the man-sized mammoth behemoths up front. And yes, they can move too, but it's hard to find a freaking unicorn. You throw Bryant McKinney in there as well. So yeah, if this thing doesn't work out and everything goes to pot, Brian O'Neill is beefed up enough where he's perfectly fine. Keep Bradbury around. Like John Sullivan was an undersized center who thrived in the primarily man scheme. When the Vikings had Adrian, so keep those two, and then just get freaking dudes, and then also pack on 100 pounds of Ezra Cleveland. Trey, like I want to see Ezra Cleveland on my 600-pound life. Like I want him to have to be cut out of his apartment by the fire department with one of those. Hey, we're here to take you to your checkup. Yeah. Trey, at first I didn't know how much Zimmer puts the blame on others and doesn't take accountability until he pointed out. Now I've seen it after every one of these last 3 L's. It's not a good look, IMO, and honestly it's annoying and disrespectful to players. Yeah, it did start out as a, hey, I'm tough, I'm calling you out and holding you accountable. But now it's just passing the buck. Harvey Melber, why doesn't the Vikings front office just suck up and chalk up this year as a loss already? We see Murray, Watson, Holmes, Mayfield, Bird to extent coming to the league and make an immediate impact. Some of the bad, mediocre teams as rookies. The Vikings should not play around and try everything to land. Trevor or Fields, period. Nah, we'll see. In a couple weeks, maybe. But hell, if the Vikings are able to get to the bye at 2-4, obviously, you drop one against Seattle, but you beat the Falcons, you beat the Texans. You're up at Green Bay. Do you have a chance to save your season week 8? Could you imagine a world where the Vikings just upset the Packers, just get together, coming on one time? Zimmer remembers actually how to coach football. Daniil Hunter gets back after the bye. Vikings go up to Green Bay, put the bank thing on. Suddenly you're 3-4, wanting some more. You got some momentum. The rookies are playing well. Justin Jefferson's being finally just unleashed. Dalvin Cook is jacking fools. The offensive line is starting to get its ish together. James Lynch is playing and doing well. DJ Waddam's getting some run as well. Cameron Dancer is back from the ribs and jacking fools. So all of a sudden, 3-4, want some more. You're right in the thick of things. 7 teams make the playoffs. I'm in, but I dream. What can you do? All right, so that's it. That is the Daily Jerome's live stream. I'm heading out to the woods, undisclosed location, so obviously something big's going to happen. Oh, maybe they'll activate Daniil to the 53 today. You never know. Thanks for coming along. We'll be back tomorrow. Join us 11 a.m. Central Time on Tuesday. Keep hope alive. Subscribe if you haven't. Come along. Skull, production value.